A very warm welcome. You're watching IDFC First Bank Presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 11. I'm Ritvika Gupta, and this is our very special weekend edition, Super Achievers Making New India, powered by VoiceWhat. Today, I have the opportunity to engage in two distinct conversations with two different companies from diverse sectors. In the first segment, I'll be chatting with Ravikant Banka, founder and managing director, Eggfirst Advertising, and in the second segment, I'll be speaking to Sandeep Jethwani, co-founder and CEO, Dezerv. Listen in.
The chances of achieving objectives and goals are greater when a company has an effective marketing strategy in place. The advertising and marketing industry in India, which has evolved and matured in the post-pandemic era, is currently valued at $12.6 billion and employs over 4 million people. A pioneer in this sector, Eggfirst Advertising specializes in rural ad campaigns and follows a holistic brand building approach through an out-of-the-box blend of zany ideas that take clients by surprise.
With our years of experience in rural marketing and the expertise that we already have, we now are going and we intend to share this knowledge with the other stakeholders of the industry. We are now coming up with award nights for the rural fraternity, the rural marketing fraternity, brands that want to reach out to rural audiences. And we are also starting with some of the breakfast meets. This again is with the view to grow the industry.
With its tagline, "As good as our word," the company navigates a multitude of outreach channels, whether they are traditional platforms or new age media, and has played a substantial role in building more than 500 brand success stories across industries.
Thank you so much, Ravi, for joining us today on Leaders of Tomorrow.
Sure. Good to be on this channel and nice to talk to you, Ritvika. Thank you.
So let's begin by talking about the advertising industry. It's rapidly evolving. Tell me, how has Eggfirst really leveraged its expertise and experience over the last 18 years to really cement its position in the market and to really see the kind of success that you have?
So we've always tried to keep in touch with what is happening in terms of the latest in the industry. Mm-hmm. However, in recent times, let's say the last 3 to 5 years, I think there's been a dramatic shift in the market itself. Earlier, it was all significantly led with print television, but with the advent of Jio in 2016, the internet availability amongst Indian consumers went through the roof. Mm-hmm. And today, we have the kind of internet penetration which there's no other country in this world which can talk about.
Sure.
So, as a result of that, we have internet available with rural consumers.
Yeah.
So as per some of the statistics that we have, as of 2022, we had 1.8 average internet users in rural India. So with this kind of penetration of internet in rural India, we've tried to be at the forefront of being able to connect with the rural world, and that's the chain that we've kept amongst ourselves, and that has worked very well for us.
So picking up from what you mentioned, rural advertising has really, emerged to become a promising area for advertisers in terms of really reaching out to different markets and new opportunities. So talk to us a little bit about Eggfirst's Rural India Conclave and, how has it impacted your approach towards rural advertising?
Okay, I'll try and answer that in two parts. One is Eggfirst Chalo Rural India Conclave. We've been building on that for a few years now. And even this year, we had more than 400 participants at our Eggfirst Chalo Rural India Conclave 2023 at the Western Goregaon. It really gave an opportunity for business leaders who sell and promote their brands to rural India, mm-hmm. whether it is agri-input companies, agri-tech companies, rural tech companies, rural banks, and many, many more categories, FMCGs. It provided a platform for the business leaders to come and exchange their thoughts and ideas in
Sure.
terms of what's working, what's not working, how's digital making an impact, and so on and so forth. The other part is it also gives us as Eggfirst insights into what's happening in the rural world. So that's always been our endeavor. So Eggfirst Chalo Rural India Conclave provides us with that opportunity to learn more and more from our clients and beyond our clients.
Right. So on that note, talk to us a little bit about your campaigns, the core strategy behind it, and how does that help you really stand out, from competition?
So thanks for asking that question. Actually, it's quite interesting to see the rural consumer is a very different consumer from an urban consumer.
Yeah.
His needs, his wants, his aspirations are very different from those which are in urban consumers. So this consumer, it's not that he's only seeking the basic values of life, he's seeking aspirational products, but you need to convey what is the value proposition to him.
Right.
And from this thought process emerges the innumerous campaigns that we build for our brand. So for instance, साथ है सा जादू जैसा, पहला वार करो दमदार, प्यादे अनेक वजीर सिर्फ एक, स्मार्ट किसान बने टेक्नोजिंक ही चुने, and so on so forth. So we love these thought processes, and we are able to capture the essence of what a farmer, let's say, is seeking, and build it into our campaigns, and it's working very well for us.
Right. Today consumers are also looking at a more holistic, immersive experience, and I think that's what brands and agencies are also trying to give them. And experiential marketing happens to be one of them. What is your take on that? Does that really help to engage consumers more, to build a stronger relationship with them?
Each and every campaign that we do needs to be as immersive as it can be.
Yeah.
So it's not just a digital outreach, but we do enable significant amount of experiential marketing to them, whether it is via activations, whether it is a canter activation, jeep activation, van activations, having melas, having nukkad nataks, shows, etc., which provide an ability for immersion. And not only this, we have also created at Eggfirst a very unique value proposition, which we've termed as Raindrops.
Okay.
Raindrops is a platform through which we are able to provide a completely immersive experience to our rural consumers, and individual cohorts which can be identified, targeted, which can be then which can then be provided a significant amount of an immersive brand experience.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Shifting my focus a little bit to digital advertising, that has seen an exponential growth over the last couple of years. Tell me, while digital advertising, allows advertisers to really target specific audiences precisely, I'm keen to understand from you, how has this transition to digital really impact traditional advertising?
With digital coming in to play, this minimum threshold value has come down significantly. So we can actually run successful campaigns which now cost a client less than about a fourth or a fifth of what was the minimum threshold earlier on. So the minimum thresholds have decreased. Two, the impact that we are able to deliver via digital, tangible impact, in terms of influencing a purchase behavior, creating awareness, it is significantly increased compared to earlier times, because now the extent to which I can target any audience via digital has increased manifold. The one doubt that many people seem to have is digital reaching out to end consumers, especially rural audiences? The extent to which internet has gone to rural India is amazing. So all put together, your Facebook, Googles, YouTubes of the world have created enough and more interest amongst this audience, and that is the reason why we as marketeers and advertisers are able to push our content via these platforms to these audiences. So it's working out very brilliantly for all concerned.
Nice. On that note, talk to us a little bit about the emerging trends, or how we like to call it, the big ideas, for 2023 as far as the advertising and marketing industry is concerned.
We've now seen trends where very, very small select areas are being targeted by brands and campaigns being run for those. So for instance, recently in our earlier season, we ran for a brand called Mahadhan, and the sub brand was Crop Tech, where it was only cotton farmers in Vidarbh in India that we've been able to target. English is not the language of of rural India, so it will start with Hindi, and then of course if it is Maharashtra, it's got to be Marathi. If it's Gujarat, it's got to be Gujarati, and so on and so forth. So between 8 to 10 languages is typically what a national level campaign that we run will comprise of.
Sure. So at this point, I also want to understand Eggfirst's operations a little bit. You have just moved into a new office like a couple of years back, and you have a team of over 100 employees. So tell me, how does that translate to workflow benefits, and at the same time, how does that impact your agency-client relationship, with brands? So what can you tell us?
So the team is our strength. The team is absolutely great. We love the camaraderie within the team. We love the sense of play and fun. And of course, we do believe in delivering insane value. And I think there is a sense of entrepreneurship spirit within the organization. And that's what even brands want. They do want an agency like Eggfirst to stand at the forefront of their marketing battles. Let's understand this and be very clear that the life of a marketeer is getting more and more difficult by the day.
Right.
There is higher and higher competition. The cost of media has gone through the roof. The number of channels on television have gone through the roof. And the rates have not necessarily come down. With all of this happening, you can well imagine the pressure that a marketing head or a business head or a CEO is going through. So we do want to clearly be in a situation where we understand the pain, we understand the demand or the ask for delivering genuine value. I must definitely make a mention that we truly believe in being as good as our word.
Nice. That was a very insightful conversation. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Ritvika. Pleasure talking to you.
It's time for a quick break here. We'll be back shortly. Stay tuned. Welcome back to IDFC First Bank Presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 11. You're watching our weekend edition, Super Achievers Making New India, powered by VoiceWhat. In this segment, I'll be in conversation with Dezerv. Listen in.
The Indian wealth tech industry is set to be a $60 billion opportunity by FY25. Wealth tech companies enable end-to-end digitization of the investment process, and the sector is poised to cater to 12 million investors in India by 2025, up from 4 million in 2020. In today's episode, we have Dezerv, an investment management platform for successful professionals that helps investors create portfolios to generate long-term wealth. This wealth tech platform, founded by Sandeep Jethwani, Vaibhav Porwal and Sahil Contractor, is all set to revolutionize the way India manages its wealth. And joining us is the co-founder and CEO, Mr. Sandeep Jethwani, talking about the journey thus far and on the prospects for the platform.
Thank you so much, Sandeep, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Ritvika.
So let's start from the very beginning. Tell me, what was the idea behind Dezerv? What motivated you to set up a company like this? And how has your experience been in this, evolving wealth management industry?
So Ritvika, just going back to the very beginning, my parents were public sector bankers. So money was a conversation that was always around the house. When I went to IIM Bangalore, again, it was very clear to me that I wanted to work in the investing business. And now when I look back, it's been 18 years of working with people on helping them with their money. In the last 14-15 years, I had the good opportunity of working with Sahil and Vaibhav around how do we solve for people's issues around money, how do we make sure that they have better returns, better lifestyles and better portfolio performance. One of the things that happened during COVID is when you got time to sort of take a step back and really think about what value you're adding. One interesting data point that came to us was that life expectancy in India and globally was rising very rapidly. Now, what did this mean? This meant essentially that the money that we needed when we retire was significantly more, because we were still retiring at the age of 60, whereas we now needed to survive for the next 25-30 years. In absolute terms, if let's imagine somebody had to retire with an amount of 1 crore, Today, with a higher life expectancy, you need 7 crores or 7 times that capital when you retire. Now, how is that going to happen in India without people actually making investments, especially in growth assets, where returns are significantly better?
Yeah.
Now, why are people not really able to make the kind of returns that they need to make? I think there are two reasons. First is most of them are not really investing. So a lot of that money is lying idle in bank accounts, sometimes fixed deposits, which essentially means that the kind of growth that the money needs to see, it's not experiencing. And the second thing is that even if we do want to invest, we don't have the time, inclination, or sometimes the bandwidth to actually be able to do it. And in fact, one of the things that we realized when we did portfolio reviews, we have this app called the Wealth Monitor where we analyze portfolios for investors. Majority of the portfolios were significantly underperforming. So these two things became one of the big reasons why we said that we had to do something ourselves and solve for this problem.
Sure. So Dezerv is solving a very pertinent problem, but I'm keen to understand how are you delivering the solution, for your end user?
As wealth managers or investment managers, we are all the time 24/7 focused around how we are managing portfolios. Are we taking corrective action at the right time? Are we responding to market environments at the right time? And are we readjusting portfolios to things like tax changes and so on, right? So timely action on portfolios is one big sort of pillar for Dezerv to deliver on. The second was that today when I need to deliver high quality investing, there are 30,000 bonds which are traded in the market. There are close to 5,000 to 6,000 stocks available in the market. There are 1,800 mutual fund schemes out there, and God knows how many startups, right? If I want to create a portfolio of instruments combining all of this, how can I do it with just a human-led process, right?
Yeah.
We need technology to play a big role. So at Dezerv, technology and human expertise truly come together to deliver this active portfolio management, and that's the second pillar. And the third thing is, and this is something that we need to realize that as investment managers we should have, is the fiduciary responsibility.
Speaking of technology, tell me, how is Dezerv steering Wealth Tech 2.0, and how is it really helping you to stand out from competition?
India for a long time was a country where people did not have access to investments, right? You would have offline brokers, you would have to go fill up a form. In Bombay, you would have to go all the way to the Bombay Stock Exchange, set up an account and make investments, right? Once I have access, I start making investments. I realize after a point in time, when my scale of money rises and the complexity begins to increase, that I'm not able to manage it on my own, okay? And that is the point at which Wealth Tech 2.0 comes in, which is the solutioning aspect. You need somebody on your side to be able to create those portfolios, to be able to take timely action, like I said, on these portfolios, and to tell you what's happening in your portfolios and why we are doing it. And that I truly believe is the next paradigm of wealth management or investment management, not only in India but globally. As far as technology is concerned, in our case, there are multiple levels at which technology plays a big role. The first is how we manage portfolios. So, like I said before, analyzing these tens of thousands of investment options and compressing them into a portfolio of 7 to 8 instruments that are right for you. That is a play where technology has a big intervention. The second area is, how do I report the portfolio to you?
Right. So you have identified the problem, you have created the solution, but I'm also keen to understand, how are consumers lapping up your product? What's been the response like, and how's been the growth trajectory so far?
So, Ritvika, it's been early days. We received our portfolio management license about a year ago. Today, we are at about 2,300 crores in assets under management. So, we have been enthused by the strong response that we have had. And I think this sort of speaks to the fact that there is a need among users for this kind of service. The second area where we have seen a very big response, in fact, again, some place where we are overwhelmed, is the need for a review of portfolios.
Okay.
And that's where the Wealth Monitor app that we created late last year, early this year, has been very helpful for investors. I'd say about 30 to 35,000 investors have already invested on that platform. So that's been exceptional for us. And the third area where response has been very positive is on our capital requirements. So we've been able to fundraise at the right time. Some of the world's top venture capital funds have been kind enough to take equity in Dezerv, and we've learned from their experience of investing in large businesses globally, and that's been again very exciting for us.
Nice. So what's the road ahead for Dezerv? What are your future plans? What can you tell us?
There are a host of investment solutions that are required for investors to be able to meet their goal of long-term wealth creation. Your goals might be different from my goals, and therefore a platform like Dezerv should be able to have investment solutions that serve every need. I think about investment solutions around two vectors. The first vector is that of conventional thinking around asset classes, which is I should be able to have a great equity solution or more than a single equity solution. I should be able to handle your steady return portfolio. The second vector is around what your needs are. A lot of times investors come to us and say that, okay, this is money for their retirement, which is say 20 years ago away, and therefore how should we manage that? So those are again solutions that we have and we are working on. So we are very excited by that. There are over 4 crore mutual fund investors in India, and each one of them, after making investments on their own for some part of time, now want some hand-holding, some help, some support. So overall the demand for what we have to offer is very, very high.
So as we wrap up this conversation, I have to ask you your final remarks, your parting thoughts for our viewers today.
So Ritvika, we believe in creating wealth, and create for me is a acronym. So let's explore that and leave that as the parting thought for your viewers. C for me stands for compounding, which is the 8th wonder of the world. It means that if you invest for the long term, you will make capital, and it can make disproportionate returns for you. R is for acting rationally. We need to ensure that we don't react too fast to portfolio movements, we don't react too much to markets. The third is E, which is excitement. Don't get too excited when you have instruments like crypto, startups, and newfangled stuff around you. A lot of money is made in very boring stuff. A is act only when required. Sometimes not acting is also a great decision. The fourth is T, which is tolerance to downside. Understand how much loss you can handle in your portfolio before you make an investment. A lot of us are too exposed to risky assets in the hope of making great returns. When markets are down, we can't handle it, we exit the portfolio and break compounding. And the last E stands for expertise. For important things in life, your health, your wealth, you need an expert on your side. So when it comes to your money, either you become the expert or get somebody who has the right expertise to handle one of the most important things in your life, which is the wealth that you have.
Wonderful. Well, it was really insightful. Thank you so much for your time, Sandeep.
Thank you, Ritvika.
With that, it's a wrap on this edition of IDFC First Bank Presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 11. We hope you enjoyed the conversations. Thank you and goodbye.